Hey, Shalom, Hashem, when I start off souls, but give no praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahshua, Hashem, Kakadash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and honor to brothers in the work of the Most on truth and in sincerity. This one's titled E484K. This is the code for the new, what you call it? It's not new, but it's a mutation, right? It's already seen in one of the, variants from before. Okay, and basically the thing that I found very interesting about this was something coming from something coming from, I believe it was Sky News, one of the news channels I was watching, Sky or Euro, I believe it was Sky, and basically it was saying the thing that's scary about this particular new mutation, right, new mutation that's happened, right, which has always been mutating. Like, for instance, I remember they were saying how the one that is in America was more like the one in Europe or China, one of the two. So there's always been mutations, right? But this one is particularly interesting one because they said this one has the potential to evade the immune system, and they're basically saying, according to their data, right, that with the one dose vaccine, isn't enough, right? And that actually is the 2-dose one that that will do the protection. So then the question that we have is, how long before a variant comes along that can't be treated by the current vaccines? Right, and that is the question. Okay, now I've not said anything to implicate myself in anything. All I'm doing is asking a simple question: how long? Okay, so Revelation 12:12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for the devil," right, which word the devil means deceiver, right, has come down unto you, and having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Right, now this is referring to the current rulers of this world, right? You read the scriptures in Job 9:24. It says this. It says, so Job 9:24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Right. So this is going into the current rulers of the earth. Now ask yourself, who's currently ruling this earth? Right. Who says jump and the rest of the nation say how high? Right. It is your Americas, your Europes, right, which are predominantly so-called white people, if not completely also so-called white people, right, and so-called because white represents purity, right, and that's one of the things, one of the labels that in their power and then in their deception they have used and added to themselves. Why? Because before, people are known by their house. Right now, the true biblical nationality of so-called white people, for the most part, is they are the Edomites. Now, you do get mixings. For instance, you have the footballer Ross Barkley, right? His grandfather is a Nigerian, right? Straight up Nigerian, dark-skinned Nigerian. You've also got I believe his name's Jesse Lingard, I believe, one of the United players. And you look at his daughter looks, and he himself is so-called mixed race looking, right? And his daughter looks just straight up like a so-called white woman, little white girl, right? So you will have, so-called white people that look like, so-called white people, but are really Israelites, right, in the spirit. Okay, now, they are, they will be Israelites, right? For instance, you get a lot of them in Italy, you get a lot of them in South, in southern, so you get a lot of them in Ireland, sorry, then you get a lot of them in southern Italy, for instance, Sicily's, etc. And you also get a lot of them in would you call it, in certain places in Eastern Europe, your Albanians, your Romanians, Romanians. But so you get our people that are scattered, and obviously in all the different nations, right? Some among the Bengalis, because ultimately the children of Israel, as a curse pursuant to Deuteronomy 28:64, was scattered amongst all people. Okay. Now, so says but in reference to the Edomites, on the other hand, they're the ones ruling, and they can see that their kingdom is about to end, right? And how do they know? Because you're starting to see all the prophets, right, coming back again to do what they were doing before, and not starting to you've been seeing, starting from a long time ago. So Jeremiah 28:8 says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. So you've had prophets of old, when they came on the scene, they were prophesying bad times, right? And that's what the prophets of today are doing as well, coming and prophesying the downfall of this kingdom, right, which is manifesting before our eyes. That's why you're seeing, Esau likes to talk to you about, the freak weather, right? But that freak weather, that's part of the judgment. That's the starting of the judgments of the Most High, right? When you have them places just flooding out, people losing homes and this, that, and the other, right? That is judgment of the Most High. Okay, anything that we are starting to see in this place is judgment of the Most High. And that's why, it is important to get right with the Lord and repent. To prove that, it's a Sirach 39:28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them, which Yahweh, which is the real name of the Most High, and his son is Yahweh Shai. So the Most High is Yahweh, and his son is Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh meaning he is, right? Yahweh Shai meaning he deliverer. Okay, why? Because Yahweh delivered, is the deliverer for the children of Israel, right? Which for the most, just to give just a blanket term, so that the children of Israel, we would be, the so-called Negroes, so-called Native Americans, so-called Hispanics, okay? And it's the spirit. Just saw something on the screen there, right, of of so-called quote unquote black nobility from the ancient world, because we ruled Europe, we ruled this place, but through a thing called iconoclasm, right, as we read in Job 9:24, he covered off the face of the judges thereof, right. That is going into the fact that as part of the deception, right, the images showcasing so-called black people have been defaced, okay. So it says, in their time of destruction, they brought the force out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Right. So as always, Lord's what I was edifying. Till the next time I say, Shalom.